All right. Can you guys
We
see that
got
now?
it.
Yay. Okay. Perfect. So there's me and my bro. Byron runs operations. He's usually in the office or running operations remotely. Um, and I am running estimation and sales and kind of business development. So we're out and about educating, try to provide value where we can to get professional realtors around the county and flood restoration companies, insurance agents, and homeowners all to refer us as much business as we can take on and make sure to provide the value and the service that we know our clients need and enjoy. We do all those services right there on the right hand side. We do solar, of course. We do full home battery backup systems, which I think is what we're going to touch on mostly today, unless you guys want to take the conversation in a different direction. We do a whole bunch of roofing, which is obviously a hot topic on days like today with a little bit of rain out there. We do full forced air heating and air conditioning systems, including mini splits as well as electric heat for your home, which is commonly referred to as a heat pump. And we also do replacement windows. And with those five offerings, we really kind of encompass and cover the energy efficient upgrades in a home is kind of what we focus on. And 80%, 90% of our technicians are in-house employees. For the most part, we don't subcontract. There are certain situations where it makes more sense to subcontract, but for the most part, it's all Build Brothers employees. All right. We founded this company in 2013. That makes 2024 year 12. I guess going on year 12. 11 or 12, depending on who you ask. But we have been steadily growing, comfortably growing. We didn't hit the market like a startup, that's for sure. We very slow and steadily built this company over the last 11 years. I think we take a lot of pride in how our quality installations and our excellent service and reviews. We have been actively pushing on our reviews for the last year or so, and so we're up over 225 five-star Google reviews nowadays, and that feels pretty good. We're a SunPower dealer when it comes to solar. If any of you are familiar with solar, SunPower is a brand that stands behind their warranty like nobody else and is quality with top tier efficiency. We got a set of core values. We make sure to operate underneath these core values in pretty much everything that we do. Provide value is first and foremost in the customer experience. And then we got to be passionate and authentic and genuine. We came up with a little Bill Brothers Solar Installers Creed, and I incentivized with $100 bills all of my solar installers to learn this and live by it while on the clock. And, you know, we were already to the point where complaints with my solar installers were at an all-time low, and getting a complaint on a solar install was nearly non-existent. And this just kind of stepped it up to the next level and allowed them to take pride in what they do. Here's our team of estimators. And so with this team, I am able to get around the county very quickly and efficiently, depending on where you have a project that needs to be looked at, whether it be estimating a new roof. One of my big value adds that I've talked about to you guys is free roof inspections for any property in escrow around San Diego County. All these guys are on board with that. They don't get paid hourly, they get paid commission only. And so they want to go out and build relationships with professionals like you folks and provide whatever you need to make sure that when somebody actually does need a roof, that business comes back to us. So each of these guys is trained very well, and each of these guys can fill my role out there in the field just as well as I do, if not better. And actually, most of them probably do a better job considering they don't have other duties. So yeah, rest assured that regardless of who shows up on your project, they're going to be really knowledgeable and know exactly what's going on. Behind the scenes are these badass folks, and from accounts receivable to warranty information to processing the back end of solar projects. It's all done in-house, and there's always a point of contact to make sure you and or your clients are really well taken care of. All right, let's talk about tax credit and financing. Let's talk about home battery storage and why it's so beneficial these days. Then I'll open it up to questions, and then obviously go over some of the value we can bring to you and your clients. Does anybody, based on what we've covered so far, I might as well open it up now to see if there's anybody that wants to cover something in particular, or has any specific questions that we'll get to at the end if I don't cover them in the presentation. Moving right along. All right, so we get the question all the time: are there still any local incentives or any kind of incentives to go solar? And yes, absolutely. There is still, the federal government is still covering 30% of the cost of your solar system, or the cost of any solar system, through the form of federal tax credit. Okay. And so, although we're not tax professionals, we explain how the tax credit works on a daily basis, and it goes towards what you owe the feds. And so if you're a 1099 real estate professional, and you pay your taxes at the end of the year, well, that 30% tax credit just goes towards what you owe them. It's not an actual return. In your situation, it would not be a check back from the federal government. Now, in a different situation, let's say you're a W-2 employee and you've got withholdings year round, that tax credit could potentially come back in the form of a check or a tax return. And so it just all depends on what your situation is. But the point is, the government is still covering 30% of the cost of the solar install. Cash versus loan versus lease. Okay, those are three very common terms in the solar business, and I'll still tell most homeowners that cash is king, even though it's hard to write a check sometimes for 50 or 60 grand. Most people don't have 50 or 60 grand lying around to invest in a solar project. And so it is maybe 10 to 15, even up to 20% of the solar projects that we do, a homeowner will just write a check for the system. But it's much more likely that they use a loan or a product like a lease or a PPA. Show of hands, anybody familiar with a lease or a PPA? Anybody? Anybody ever had an escrow slowed down or screwed up by a lease or a PPA? PPA is an acronym for Power Purchase Agreement. In essence, you don't own the solar equipment that's on your roof, providing the electricity for your home. You're just buying the electricity from that system at a less expensive rate than the utility. Okay. I use the term lease or PPA pretty interchangeably, meaning they operate the same, they act and feel identical. It is just one of them, you are leasing the equipment for a fixed cost per month, and the other, you are buying the electricity from the system at a fixed cost per month. Neither of them do you own the system. Neither of them do you get the tax credit. Now, doesn't mean you don't benefit from the tax credit, because the tax credit affects the pricing of the lease and PPA, but you don't actually have to apply for it. The loans that we've got go from 2% interest to 5.99, and we even have some interest rates all the way up to 10% these days. Okay. We take financing out to 25 years because that is the life of a solar system. And not only is that the life, but that's also the guaranteed life. The warranty on these solar systems goes for a full 20 years. Like mortgages, interest rates for these loans have gone up dramatically over the last couple of years. How do we get a 1.99% interest rate on a loan these days? Well, it's a big buy down fee. Just like buying down a mortgage, we can buy down our interest rates in the solar business. The benefit is that you don't actually have to come out of pocket for that buy down. It just gets rolled into the loan, and that loan amount increases based on how big the buy down is. We're not talking, 1, 2, 3 points for a buy down in this business. The buy downs can be fairly dramatic to get down to 2% interest rate. It ends up showing the payment. It ends up showing the lowest payment possible for a loan with ownership, but it can be a big loan at the end of the day. Pros and cons of each of those. All right, this is actually my system. I have built my house out in Ramona to be off grid. And am I still attached to the grid? Yes. So technically, I'm not off grid, but I want to be able to support my energy needs without any use of the grid. Basically, be able to shut off the main breaker, be able to cancel my SDG account, and live with a lot of electric usage, probably somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 a month in electric usage. So that's my system as it looks today. And believe it or not, because my system is never a priority over our customers, it's not even finalized or hooked up. It's just sitting there as decoration for now. All right, the benefits of home battery systems. So one of the major complaints we hear about solar, it was just on a Facebook group the other day. Somebody was asking about their true up bill. Anybody know what a true up bill is? A true up bill is after you've had solar for 12 months. If you used more electricity than what the solar produced, you will actually pay for it once a year. Why? Because our solar systems produce more in the summertime than they do in the wintertime. So there's a good chance if you run a deficit of electricity in the wintertime, that you'll make up for it in the summertime. Regardless, we pay for that extra electricity once a year at true up. Okay. There are three major reasons. There's actually four major reasons why somebody would have a big true up bill. The system was undersized and poorly designed from the get-go. The system is underproducing. Number three, the usage of the home has gone up dramatically, which happens a lot. People add electric cars or pools and things like that. And number four, which is what I want to touch on, is that SDG&E continues to manipulate the rates in their favor, right? So the utility is a big part of any solar system. And so with a battery backup system, we don't need to rely nearly as much on the utility, and we can store the electricity we produce throughout the day with our solar system to then power the home at night. Okay. So does my system store energy? 90% of the 95% of the solar systems you see out there out and about on any given day don't have a battery. They're relying on SDG&E, right? That solar produces electricity throughout the day. And then at night, you use the credits you earned throughout the day to buy back the power at night. We want to get away from that. SDG&E is encouraging us to get away from that through their bill manipulation and changing the rules on us constantly. And so instead, we add a battery, and that battery allows us to charge it during the day with solar power and then use that battery to run the house at night when the sun goes down. The huge benefit of a battery besides that, cost savings is that now you have electricity when the grid goes down. And disaster preparedness is something that I'm getting kind of passionate about. I don't think there are many Americans, I don't think there are many Californians or San Diegans that have a plan in place in the event of an extended power outage, in the event that something goes wrong. So I'm dedicating my Instagram actually to kind of raising awareness and showing what it's like to live in San Diego with a lot of usage off grid and being prepared in the event of something happening and something being surprised by a big natural disaster, right? We all saw the food shortages and toilet paper shortages that happened during COVID. So we know how susceptible and how easy it is for something crazy like that to happen. All right, what else? Um, I actually wanted to get into showing you guys because, well, I've had people comment say, Ian, you share a lot of good information about solar installs, about the equipment, about the warranty, about this and that. It comes a lot of times it comes down to dollars and cents, right? If it makes dollars, it makes sense. So that's what I was working on as you guys were logging in. Let's go back over here. Can you guys still see my screen? Okay. Here we have my solar design system. Okay. This is proprietary to SunPower. It's SunPower's design tool. And this is my roof. I've got a 2,500 square foot house, but a huge patio cover and a whole bunch of garage, a whole bunch of carport. So I've got a ton of roof space for your average 2,500 square foot house. So I've got plenty of space on my roof for as much solar as I need. Okay. So what I've done here is if I click that roof button down at the bottom, now it shows me all the different roof planes on my roof where solar can go. Okay. If I highlight those different roof sections, now those panels are turned on. Okay. I could very easily fit, how many panels is that? Very easily fit, what number of panels? What is that? 100 panels on my roof. Okay. Now, if I put 100 panels on my roof, it will produce 5 times the amount of electricity needed to offset a $500 SDG&E bill. So quick math, we're offsetting a $2,500 bill with those 100 panels. I don't need that. So I'm going to start turning off all of these roof planes. And I'm just going to leave the number of panels highlighted that I need. At 17 panels, so I've already, behind the scenes, I've already put in $500 SDG&E bill. Show of hands, anybody here have a $500 SDG&E bill? Has anybody ever paid a $500 SDG&E bill? No. How about a $300 SDG&E bill? 300 bucks. Okay. It is easier than you think to jump from 200 bucks to 600 bucks, right? If you've got a pool, if you got a spa, you got an electric car, if you run substantial air conditioning, then it is very, very easy for you and your family or clients to get to that 500 bucks. We very regularly work with people that have $600, $700, $800 bills. My house just happens to be all electric, so there is no SDG&E gas provided to my house, which means I heat the house with electricity. I my electric oven. I'm not on electric water heating just yet, but I will be when my water heater dies. And so I've tried to remodel the house so that almost everything is on electricity. Okay. So I've actually installed a much bigger system than this, but for an example, I'm using 500 bucks as kind of a good, uh, just an example for you guys. 17 panels. Here's our battery. We've got the SunPower SunVolt, 13 and a half kilowatt hours. Their batteries are expensive, and we don't expect them to come down in cost anytime soon because the demand for them has gone through the roof. And unfortunately, that's not how economics works. So we're going to start with the SunVault 13. 13 kilowatt hours is a very, very good solution for most homes in San Diego. We can go up from there, obviously, but the costs begin to increase. We're going to save this design. Oops. Let's go up to my little pricing wheel. Loan, lease, and cash. Save. This will take a second as it thinks. Who here has been through a solar presentation before? Anybody? Krista, you have? Do you have solar on your home? Nice. Do you have a battery on your home?
Sorry. Yes, I do have solar. I do not have a battery,
Okay.
but yes, it has changed my bill in the very beginning because I also have a swimming pool. In the very
Okay.
beginning, it was like before I actually moved, I bought my house overseas. So before I actually moved, I had a $500 bill, like you were talking about, and I was
Yeah.
like, no. But I'm not sure if I'm actually saving money with solar, to be honest. Um,
You know,
I think
yeah.
with the lease amount, with the connection, and then also, yeah, sure, sometimes maybe 3 months in the summer I get like zero bill or
Yeah.
the credit.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of where I'm on the line. But hearing you speak is a little bit more encouraging.
Cool. I'd be more than happy to go through your SDG bill to show you what's going on there and then review your system and then let you know if, oh yeah, you just unfortunately worked with the wrong company and they got you, which happens, right? Not all real estate agents are created equal. Definitely not all insurance, not all solar companies are created equal. There are there are a ton of independent solar sales reps out there that have been given the freedom to really put a black eye on the industry, put a kind of a negative name to the industry, and we're looking to own our market here. We're looking to create an awesome reputation here, and so I don't think there are too many clients out there that would have that opinion about us. I'm hoping. All right, so back to
Is
this
it
proposal.
possible to like if even for other um, clients who are not very happy with their company, is it possible to make a switch to you guys, for example?
So getting out of a lease or a PPA can be a big challenge. I've heard of it being done, but that be a one-off situation where you're documenting all the challenges you've been through and their non-responsiveness, they don't fix the system, yada yada, right? And then it's legal action. Now going forward, can I become a servicer of the system, or if you needed more panels, or if you wanted to add a battery to it, then absolutely, we could do that. All right, so here's my 17 panel system. Okay. Now, usually I'm going to design it a little bit bigger than that. I would probably add another panel or two because this number represents how much electricity the house used from SDG&E the previous year. Okay. And so we want a solar system that's designed to offset slightly more than that number there. Mostly just because we want a mental satisfaction that comes with offsetting your whole or as much of your SDG&E bill as we can, right? Paying two bills doesn't really give you that satisfaction. So we got the battery, we got the 17 panel system. Let's look at some savings. Let's start with a lease. So, 400, thought I put in 500 bucks, but I actually put in 420 bucks a month for our existing SDG&E bill. Okay. 420. With solar, there still is going to be a little bit of a bill at 66 bucks a month. Okay. It's the way that net billing works with SDG&E. Very, very unlikely that we're able to get the after solar SDG&E bill down to zero. It pretty much can't happen. Payment on that system, $207 a month. So what we got to do is we got to add 207, which is our monthly payment for our solar plus battery lease. 25 years, everything's covered. 207 bucks a month. Let's add the 66 bucks a month that's still due to SDG&E. Okay. And now we got $273 is our new SDG&E bill, or excuse me, our new electric bill. So, would you rather pay 420 bucks a month, or would you rather pay $273 a month? Silly question, obviously. That savings is probably anybody can do the math quickly on that. The savings is about 35%. So we're saving these homeowners 35% on their electricity spending. And then we're giving them a battery, which the battery comes with all of its own benefits, which protecting you and your family in the event of a power outage or a natural disaster. It's able to store the electricity versus sending that extra electricity out on the grid, right? And it's really creating a little bit of energy independence for you and your family. Has anybody ever lived through any kind of decent power outage, 24 hours or more? We had a power outage. What year was that? 2017 rainy season, and there was like 150 trees in the Bonita Valley that fell down and took down a whole bunch of power lines with it. And we were without power for like about 40 hours. Not a huge deal. I had a little small generator to keep the refrigerator going, but people were freaking out. I pulled up to my RV storage, and the guy that lived closest to the RV storage was walking around out front with a gun. And so people do weird things when electricity goes out. And so I feel like those of us that are financially in a position to be able to protect our families from those extended power outages have the responsibility to do so. Based on these numbers, it actually saves you 35% off the cost of your electricity to protect your family and make sure that you guys are in a good position in the event of a power outage. All right. For those that hate the term lease, and there are plenty of people that do, and they won't even let me show them these leasing numbers. What's the downside of a lease? Anybody ever heard a homeowner complain about a lease? Well, Krista, you're in a lease, right?
Sorry, I meant a loan. I mean, I have a
You're in a
loan
loan.
on it. I'm not on the
Okay.
lease. Yeah, you just don't own the lease, right? So
You don't own it, and it's like leasing a car. Trying to get out of a lease early can be a challenge. Well, not a challenge; it's just expensive. You make every lease payment that is remaining on your lease term, right? So if you were to multiply 207 times 244 months, you're paying more for that system than had you have just paid cash originally. Um, so there used to be a lot of complaints from real estate professionals about leases transferring to the new owner of that home. Leased solar systems nowadays, in my experience, are so common that most real estate professionals have become aware, and it's not really a big deal anymore. There are obviously horrible companies out there to deal with, Sunrun being one of them, that make that lease, that could make that lease transfer difficult. Unfortunately, most of the time, a lease transfer is held up in escrow. I got to blame escrow or somebody on the real estate transaction because they didn't submit the paperwork until last minute, right before escrow was supposed to close. And actually, I won't blame anybody. It's not my role. All right. So if you hate a lease, let's jump over to a loan. Here we've got a 3.99% interest rate loan, 20 years, takes the payment up to $299 a month. Okay. Now there's our loan balance. That loan balance is greater than the cash purchase price. Why? Because the buy down fees that we talked about earlier. 3.99 is not a true interest rate. This is unsecured money. It's not a mortgage. How could it be cheaper than a mortgage? So how do you get it down to a 3.99? You pay points to buy down the interest rate. And that is a considerable dollar amount in there. Now, one of the major benefits of those points getting rolled into the loan, well, you claim your tax credit based on this total loan amount right here. And so in essence, you are getting the tax credit on your buy down fees that are rolled into the loan. That's pretty cool. These are all simple interest loans with no prepayment penalty. And so the major benefit of loan over lease is you chip away at it and you pay it off early, obviously, and get that debt off the books. This is a fixed payment of $299 a month for the full 20-year term. Okay. And So the savings is slightly less on the loan, as you can see. We're now at a combined payment, so 66 bucks to the utility and 299 for the solar and battery. Brings you up to $365 a month. We're still saving, what is that? I don't know, 50 or 60 bucks a month, and you have all the benefits of the battery. So again, showing savings and showing additional benefits. And cash purchase. If you're going to write a check for this 17 panel system with the battery, all included, everything included, installation, permits, warranty, it's going to be 43,000 bucks. Who remembers the total loan balance? Anybody see that? Total loan balance of 68 grand. So sometimes that can be a difficult one to explain, right? It's like, whoa, that's a heck of a buy down fee to get down to that 3.99% interest rate. And so when people are, we just, it makes no difference how we get paid. We don't share in buy down fees. And so we get paid the same regardless of all three of these options. But yeah, as you can see, writing a check for the system is king. 43,000 bucks out of pocket, $13,000 tax credit brings your net cost to under $31,000. We are saving roughly $360 a month. So if we divide 30 grand, 31,000 bucks by 360, excuse me, 31,000 divided by 360. 360 divided by 31,000. What's going on here? Oh, okay. We want to divide annual savings by the total net cost of the system to get our return on investment. Does this investment make sense for you to pull money out of the 401k or redivert some funds from buying another piece of property to putting it into a solar project? You have to make that decision. And to make that decision, you got to know what kind of return on your money is happening. So savings of 360 bucks a month times 12, $4,300 a year, $31,000 divided by 4,300 bucks a year in savings, a 7.2 year payback period, or a 17% rate of return. Not terrible, because again, it comes with all the benefits of the battery. There you go. You got three options. You got cash, you got lease, you got loan. In most situations, obviously, keeping all your money, still investing in that new piece of real estate, and instead of paying $420 a month, you pay $207 for a solar lease with a battery, and it makes a lot of sense. Questions on any of that? Let's go back over to this guy. Oh, the starting cost of a battery is 15 grand. Batteries go 15 grand, sky's the limit, depending on what you want to do. And so, so yeah, our basically our entry battery is 15,000 bucks. It's actually a local company called Nia Volta. It's got a fantastic warranty and killer chemistry and killer technology. The monitoring is awesome. We're extremely happy with it. And it is a battery that we sell most when we're adding a battery to an existing system. Like if Krista wanted to add a battery to her system, I would suggest the Nia Volta, 14 kilowatt hours, pretty much plug and play with any existing system. We went over that. All right, just to review, um, existing solar systems. We'd be happy to look at those things. Inspect the existing solar system while we inspect the roof for any property you have in escrow. Unfortunately, a lot of times sellers leave with the monitoring device or some little component of the solar system that does them no good to leave with, but they just don't know that it needs to stay with the home. So yeah, give us a call. We'll get out there, inspect existing solar systems. Now, if we actually got to troubleshoot it and I got to start pulling apart the system and run testing voltages, that does require an electrician, that requires a technician. And so there is a cost for that. It's usually about 300 bucks. That 300 bucks we can apply towards any repair that is actually made on the system. Most of the time, a visual inspection, we can determine if the system is working properly, and kind of how old it is and what kind of lifespan is left in it. Open it up for questions.
So who do we reach out to if we have a job that we want an estimate on?
There's Jennifer's cell number on the presentation, and a text message to her. She immediately gets it into our system and then dispatches it to one of our estimators. We can usually get out there within 24 hours and then another 24 to 48 to have the report to you. But typically I encourage my estimators to get on the phone with whoever our contact point is on that project and talk through what they found, the pros and cons. You know, we'll always give you our honest opinion. In some cases, right, I train my estimators to make sure that we're giving our honest opinion of the project, and B, we are making sure to accomplish whatever your goals are. And so last thing we want to do is blow up an escrow for you. You know, there are a lot of roofs around San Diego County that are they're dead and well beyond their life expectancy. You know, it's a roof that was only originally installed, designed, and warranted for 20 years, but it's 28 years old. It might not be leaking, but that doesn't mean that roof's not dead. That roof needs to be changed before some kind of catastrophic failure and a big giant leak happens in the house. The other day, I had an estimator go out for was Seth O'Byrne's office, and they very clearly, everybody involved knew that the roof was bad. But for the lender to fund on the deal, the lender wanted to know that there was no active leak near the termite repair that had occurred, right? That's what they were asking for, is very specific. And so were we able to honestly prepare a roof certification stating that? Absolutely. We saved the day right at the end of the deal, got the deal funded. My estimator that I sent out for that hated the roof. The roof had a lot of other issues, and we made that clear in our inspection to that was for all parties involved. But then they came back and said, "Hey, for the bank, for the lender, can we have this specifically?" And so we boiled it down and said, "Yeah, we didn't find any active leaks in that area." And so we felt like, hey, this is to help everybody involved. Let's make sure this deal gets funded. And then, by the way, yeah, introduce us to the buyers so that when they are ready and they budgeted for that roof, we can be the people they call. I would put my cell number up there, but I'm the one that's most likely to fumble the information. And so our office line will 90% of the time get you to Gloria. She runs our call center and schedules all of our appointments and has visibility to all of our estimators' calendars. And And so that is the easiest, our general office number, which is it anywhere? 844. Is there? Oh, sorry. Right there in the middle. I had pictures covering it. Sorry. Yeah, so that's that 844 number right there is probably the best one to reach out. And then if you want to keep Jennifer's cell as a backup, you know, we know when it rains that our phones ring like crazy. And so although we're not getting a whole lot of production done on a day like this, the phones are ringing, and it gets a little bit hectic with emergency tarping and things like that. So we do work with a whole bunch of flood restoration companies that get a ton of calls on days like today.
What's your typical turnaround time? Like if we had a listing that was going on and the seller wanted to, you know, typically it's bathrooms, kitchen. What's the turnaround time typically on those?
On a roofing project right now, because it's busy season and we've had a ton of rain, which slows down production, we're running right around 6 weeks as far as getting started on that roof. And then our average roof takes 3 to 4 construction days to complete. Our schedule is always fluid and kind of moving around. And so we prioritize houses that are leaking, especially flat roofs that are leaking, because it's very, very difficult to tarp those and keep the water out. And then if there are other, you know, time constraints like trying to close escrow, then we can shuffle things around and make it happen. Escrow holdbacks are perfectly fine for us if you want to pay for the new roof through escrow. We're very comfortable with that. I've done it a whole bunch of times. All right. Feel free to follow us on socials. And if you want to see my experience, so again, I haven't even flipped the switch yet and turned my system on, but I'm gonna make a big push at trying to document, you know, the struggles that we go through, how I kind of organize my day when we do laundry, because I got electric dryer. You know, most of the heavy electric usage will need to be during the day when my solar panels are producing much electricity to avoid running out of battery at night. And we'll see if I can do it. We'll see if we can add electric car to the wife's got an electric car on order. Charging an electric car off grid can be very challenging. Electric cars use a ton of electricity, and not only that, but they've got a very heavy amount of draw when you go to charge them on a 60 amp charger. So I think it might be fun. It might be interesting to some folks as far as living off grid in Southern California.
That's awesome. Thank you, Ian. We'll look forward to watching your journey.
Cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys having me.
Anybody else have any other questions? All right. Thanks so much. We'll get this posted on our channel so the rest of the team can see it. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, you got it. See you guys.
All right. Have a good day.